How's it going, everyone? Tyler Dunn here with Jim Monis. We are remote for another episode of the Go Long podcast brought to you by our good friends at Hamburg Brewing Company off of Route 219. Get in there, drink some Hoptimonium, drink some Louis, drink some Berry Sneaky. So many good beers, so much to choose from. Jim, you are not in Western New York, though, right? You're down visiting a little fam.
I'm down here, Bethany Beach, Delaware, but man, it's just never the same when we gear this podcast up and we just aren't in our home territory. Just with that full lineup of everything you just read. Hoptimonium still alive. It's still alive. Remember, there was that little period there where we thought we lost Hoptimonium for a little, but they brought it back a little. But
Yes.
no, man, I can't wait. This is always a good time to visit everybody, but definitely can't wait to get back because there's no better weather right now in the country than Western New York.
It's amazing. I mean, it could be 92 degrees one day. It's a little hot, but this week I felt like it kind of got down to that sweet spot, mid to late 70s. Well, we'll get you back soon. We'll get back to Hamburg.
Yeah.
A lot of listeners want to hang out with us, so we'll let you know in the Twitter sphere and on here, obviously, when we're going to be back. But Jim, I think we're kind of in that lull in the NFL calendar, right? Like not a hell of a lot happening other than some arrests, which are there's been a few that I don't even want to repeat on
Always.
here. They're so bad. I mean, holy shit! I don't know if you saw the latest with Barkevius Mingo. Unbelievable. Like, yeah, not even worth giving airspace here. But if it's true, I hope he goes away for a long, long time. If it's true, everybody has their say, but not pretty. But other than that, yeah, not a hell of a lot happening. So I just figured we'd talk a little quarterback, contract, dilemma, action on this podcast because Josh Allen, Lamar Jackson, Baker Mayfield,
Mm-hmm.
these three quarterbacks could be very, very rich very, very soon. So we're going to get into all of that. But I don't know. First, Jim, is there anything going on in your world, your life that you want to touch on? What you been up to, man?
No, just I'm trying to enjoy the NHL finals. Didn't really, I'm not a huge hockey guy, but that wasn't much, of the series. And this NBA series, hopefully Milwaukee can get this one tonight for a couple reasons, but I'll keep those to myself. But I would like to see a good finals. I just like this is the time of year. I just like, I hate to say the cliche, you like a game seven, but I just like to see good games, good action, and then you take a breather, and then we get ready for the NFL. That's how I've always kind of felt like with the NBA.
I definitely, as we're doing this, the Bucks have a 15-point lead, 11 minutes
Yeah,
left in the third. I hope they win. Like, make it a series. These are
make
two
it a
great
series.
teams. I mean, it's
They
entertaining.
are.
Phoenix, Milwaukee, just two organizations. You know why I love it, Jim? It's just the NBA has been moving toward this AAU style of team building when, LeBron just has the league by the balls and just kind of does whatever the hell he wants and gets his buddies together and everybody's building super teams. I mean,
Yeah.
these are two teams that were built old school, like the right way. Like the Bucks nailed it with Giannis Antetokounmpo way back when, and just meticulously season by season built to get to this point. And the Phoenix Suns just have everything. I mean, they're just such a well-built team. But I watched the Bucks in like the Deer District, right? You have all the fans outside the arena going insane. And inside the arena, David Bakhtiari's there chugging beers with his
Yeah.
dad on the video board. It's awesome. And I just had these flashbacks. Like when I lived out there from 2011 to 2015, the Bucks were really, really bad for the most part.
Mm,
And you could get tickets for $4 on StubHub and just go
yeah.
down there.
Yeah.
And there was only like this one small section of fans in the crowd that went nuts. And I swear they probably were paid by the team to go crazy because everybody else in the arena was just there
Nobody
because
wants to
tickets
do
were
that.
cheap and it was something to do.
Mm.
And here they are, like just lighting the city, the state on fire. It's awesome. It's great to see.
You know what I love about both these teams is kind of how they drafted well, but then both teams made it a point to go out and get point guard, Chris Paul and Holiday. And I've always pictured, you always put yourself in the other GM shoes sometimes. Like, Ooh, I would love to hear those meetings in the offseason. Like, look, we get this guy, we got a squad. Like just that those guys have a certain toughness about them. When you get a point guard that has that grit that those guys have, I always think of it like it's just like a quarterback to me. When you get a point guard with that type of, the whole team will not want to let that guy down. And that's how they both play for these guys. That's kind of what I like about it.
And on the contrary, like one of the Bucks games I was at, maybe we even talked about this on here. Sorry if I'm repeating myself, but like,
No.
I think I scored a ticket like right behind the Bucks bench for like $70, like nothing, right? Like right behind the bench, and there with a friend, and we're watching like the Bucks literally draw up a game-winning play with like I don't know 20 seconds left, 17 seconds left. I don't remember who they were playing, but Brandon Jennings was on the team, like Monte Ellis, maybe like Luke Bahamute, Larry Sanders. Giannis might have even been on the team as a rookie for all I know, but like Jim Boylan, he's drawn up this play. I'm like looking at the whiteboard. There's just all these squiggly lines going all these directions, and they get out there, and what happens? Brandon Jennings gets the inbounds pass and just pounds the ball at the top of the key the whole time. Everybody's standing around. He's just pounding it, chucks up like a 25-footer, clanks off the rim. They go to overtime and probably lose. Like it's like they've come a long way since then. They really have. But oh my god! All right, real quick though, before we get into these quarterbacks, I need to rant just a little bit on a topic that we've touched on a little bit. It's not sports related, but so last week I took a little road trip for Go Long, drove down to Virginia, from Buffalo here to we'll say it on here on the podcast so folks can subscribe and look forward to it. Hung out with Antonio Gibson, Washington football team running back. Great conversation. Learned a ton about Antonio, where he's from, what makes him tick, why he's different. Can't wait to write this story. We'll probably have it up in a couple weeks or so. But on the drive down, so it's I headed off early in the morning, going down 219 through Pennsylvania, logging roads. It's a fun little trip. Got a little hungry at some point. Went to a McDonald's. Got in line. Not many people there. And I'm in there, get a breakfast sandwich, and out of nowhere comes like this pot-bellied, angry, just the look on his face, he wanted blood. And he gets in the face of the cashier, whoever's working there at McDonald's. Where's my sweet tea? I ordered a sweet tea 20 minutes ago. Where the hell is it? And she couldn't have been nicer. Said, "Sir, I'm so sorry. We must have forgot about it. I'll get it right to you." First of all, why are you ordering sweet tea at like 7 a.m.? Like, that's kind of a weird time to get sweet tea, I think. And he was relentless, even after she apologized. Like 3 or 4 different times, Jim. He's like getting into her face. What? This is unacceptable. This is unacceptable. I've been waiting 20 minutes. And she just super nice, apologizes again and again and again. Gets a sweet tea, no thank you, just storms off. And I look at the woman, I'm like, I'm so sorry for that human being. Like that. And that comes back to her point, like, if you see, like, I beg and plead anybody out there, if you were, and this woman, she's probably like 65, 70 years old. Like, she's working at McDonald's, probably just like to get paycheck to paycheck, like contributing to society. I got so mad, Jim. I got so freaking pissed off because what did we talk about a couple podcasts ago? Nobody wants to work today because the way it's set up right now, not to get all political, it's pretty easy to just sit on your ass and not work. And every place I stopped on the way down to Virginia and on the way back, whether it's Sheetz, McDonald's, lunch, breakfast, along the way, you see signs. Like all these places are begging people to work. Like, please,
Everybody's hiring.
Yeah, we'll give you bonuses, we'll give you perks. Just everybody's hiring, everybody wants people to work. And like, here's this guy just treating this poor woman like absolute shit. And it's like, dude, like she's working, like she's helping you out. Like she's doing everything she can. I'm like, shut the hell up. I wish I would have told him that actually, but I don't know. Please, let's just treat everybody with kindness and respect if they're like helping you out and they're in the workforce, because there's a lot of people that don't even want to do that.
I'm still stuck on the fact that when you told this story about this guy, that he said he was waiting 20 minutes for a sweet tea.
Yeah, at some point in those 20 minutes, don't you just go up and nicely ask like where your sweet tea is? That's kind of weird.
I don't think I've ever it's never taken me more than 3 to 5 minutes to finish any meal I've ever had at McDonald's. 3 to 5 minutes. There's no way I would ever sit for
Yeah.
20 minutes and wait for a sweet tea. That guy,
Yeah.
it's a shame we don't know who he is. I mean, that's a guy
I
we
know.
all should just, yeah.
He definitely a shopping cart guy. Definitely a get on
Oh,
the elevator before you get out
oh,
guy.
he's hanging with Pete Carroll every night.
He
There's no
is.
doubt.
Yep. The airport slides into the gate. He's boom. He's out of his seat. He's got places to be. Just a bad person.
What was
And
Whaley? Wouldn't leave the right lane when
no,
people are trying to merge
hanging in the left lane, right? Like
or
hanging
hanging
out in the
left.
left
Yep.
lane. Yeah, yeah, exactly. We have to make that a segment. You know, if anybody out there's listening and has a good title for that, like we need to make that a segment and come up with something new. So now we're gonna add McDonald's guy to it.
Oh,
Right?
he's on it.
That's this week. He's on it. He's on it.
He's on it.
Yeah, my God. And then as I left, and she gave me my food, and I'm like, yeah, that sorry again, like that guy, like I was like, that was just unbelievable. I can't believe I just witnessed that. And she just she just smiled and she goes, can I just come with you? Can I just leave, please? Can I just come? I wanted to be like, yes, you can just come and live with us in Boston, New York, please. We have a spare bedroom
Like
until our
there's
second son arrives.
we
Like
gotta make
you have a
this.
place to get us far away from that existence. Oh my God. Man. All right, Jim. Well, let's talk a little football, shall we?
Yeah, I wanted to touch on Antonio Gibson quick.
Yeah, definitely.
When I was watching these quarterbacks this year, it's always a good chance to see receivers, skill guys when you're watching it kind of will always jump out. And he's a good player. The guy that really caught my eye was for Washington was the receiver Terry McLaurin from Ohio State. Like he's much better than I really knew. I never really studied him or knew much about him. So McLaurin to me kind of was like, wow, this guy's for real receiver. But Gibson is, man, he's got a toughness to him that is just, yeah, there's a reason he's making it.
He does. I mean, college wide receiver that is now one of the best running backs potentially in the NFL. You just don't see that very often. The way
He makes plays. Like he really finishes. Like he finishes well. So,
and it's a team, it's a franchise that really, let's face it, they don't have an identity. There's not much buzz, but they're really, really good. Like this is a team that's, I think, they should compete to win the division, make the playoffs, make a little noise, built from the inside out. But it's like they literally don't even have a name. So we got into all that. So if everybody wants to check it out, golongtd.com, right? Subscribe, do all that fun stuff. But yeah, I don't know. I feel like this is probably the most topical thing to get into this week because these are huge decisions to make. And everybody will say like, okay, obviously, you know what, Jim, before I get into this, my dog Edmund is whining like a mad person back there. I'll be right back. I'm just going to hit pause on this. So these are some pretty massive decisions that all three franchises have to make: Buffalo, Cleveland, Baltimore. And I think everybody's going to say like, oh, of course these deals are going to get done. Just a matter of when, not if. And that's probably the case. But as we've talked about on here, I mean, there have been teams that paid a lot of money to quarterbacks, regretted paying that money to those quarterbacks. Look at what? Wentz and Goff. They went 1-2 not too long ago. And boom, both those guys are gone. So you still got to tread carefully a little bit. And the price is going up. You look at the top 5 annual salary. Patrick Mahomes is number 1 at $45 million per year. Dak Prescott's number 2 at $40. Deshaun Watson, number 3 at $39. Russ Wilson, $35. And then my boy Jared Goff coming in hot at $33.5 million. Aaron Rodgers also at $33.5 million. So I guess the market is, if I'm an agent for any three of these guys, you're going to be asking between 40 and 45, right? Like, why would you take less than what Dak Prescott just signed for? To you, I mean, we can start with any quarterback you want, any direction you want, but like as a former director of personnel, how would you navigate this situation? It's a good problem to have, right? You have a quarterback, right? You'd rather have that guy than not have that guy. But that's a lot of money, however you slice it. I don't know.
I think it's important to you're paying attention, like just like buying a home, you get the comparables, and that's what you do with contracts. So you're looking at the comparables like you're just talking about. And are you going to say that is Josh Allen, is that how you go into the negotiation? Is Josh Allen better than Dak Prescott? You know, I mean, that's where you're going to, and is he better than Patrick Mahomes? I mean, it's, he's going to get, I think Josh personally is going to get, like, it's going to be up there. It's, there's no question about it to me that it's going to be a huge contract. I'm interested to see what Baltimore does. I've kind of mentioned this before, but for some reason, like it's time for me to see him not be the reason they lose a playoff game. And I'm not saying he's the reason they lose. I'm not saying that, but are you going to be special enough making plays, passing the football in the playoffs? Like, I mean, we got to see it. Like, it's not that he's not a special playmaker. We know that. And we know he's tough, and we know he is obviously going to get you to the final four in your conference. I mean, he's proven that. But now how do you get to the Super Bowl and win that Super Bowl? I think Lamar Jackson really has something to prove when it comes to playoff football. I really do. Baker Mayfield, you're keeping him. I mean, you're not losing him. And he's going to be up there too. It's really, I don't feel like there's much debate with these guys. I mean, you'd love to keep all of them. Obviously, if Lamar shows you, my point with Lamar is at some point you've catered your offense to his skill set, which every great coach should do. Okay. And that's good. But is this offense playoff good enough to get to the Super Bowl and win that Super Bowl? And that's, and then that's because that's what you have to really decide. So that's the one guy I'm interested to see how they handle that.
Let's start with Lamar Jackson then. I mean, that's
Yeah.
probably the most fascinating of the three.
Yeah. I
That was
think
so
so.
well said. And I have his playoff numbers right here. So like, I mean, that's what it's about. You're gonna pay a guy this much money. You got to win in January. 2018 is rookie season. They lose to the Chargers, right? 14 to 29, 194, two touchdowns, one pick, 78.8 passer rating. He ran 9 times for 54 yards. That Titans game was kind of weird. The Titans got ahead and the Ravens had to play from behind. So the numbers might seem a little better than they even were, right? He was 31 to 59, 365 yards, a touchdown, two picks, and he did run for 20 times for 143. So you say that's a lot of yards. I don't know. I remember being there covering it for Bleacher Report. He didn't play well. To your point, he didn't that game.
Yeah.
And then the Bills game, they lose 17-3. And he is the reason that they lose. I mean, Baltimore's defense did more than enough. They held Buffalo to 10 offensive points all over the field. And Lamar, 14 to 24, a buck 62. The pick six, obviously, when they're going in the score was the difference. And then he had that concussion and he was done. So, and also he only ran for 34 yards that game. So I get it. No, that's so true. But here's
It might sound crazy. I know. I'm not trying to. I'm saying if you, at what point, like when do you say? Let's start. Hold on. Let's start like this. There's probably no way they're letting Lamar Jackson leave. I mean, I can't imagine this. I'm just saying, if it was me, I would actually bring it up. If I was in the front office there, that I would say, hey, he's not the reason we're winning in the playoffs. Like, he's hurting us. You can't be the reason as the quarterback in the playoffs that you're hurting your team. And if you're hurting your team, that's, come on. I mean, Josh Allen's figured that out where, where he would have plays where it was kind of like, God, how do you kind of, it's some crazy fumble or trying to extend the play, I think he's really worked on that. And you see his ability, maturing that way. And Lamar still could they're going to do different things this year on offense. I mean, it's going to be fun to watch them, and it might click. It might be, maybe they got more pieces that they really want to do what they need to do.
I'm gonna support
Mm.
Lamar Jackson in this
Yep.
debate, and it's good to have a little debate here because we agree way too often, Jim. But like, I think he can thread that needle. I think okay, here's a quarterback who threw the ball only 30 times twice last year, which is crazy to think, right? In a passing league, your starting quarterback threw the ball more than 30 times twice in 18 games. Or no, he missed a game in there with COVID, and COVID hit him hard. But that's
Right.
kind of the point. I think early on last season, COVID just destroyed Lamar's body. He struggled to get back to form from that. And he was trying to be too much of a passer early in the year. And we had Joshua Harris, his quarterbacks coach, on a happy hour. Encourage all subscribers out there to go check it out because he was pretty honest about Baltimore's offense and Greg Roman and what is wrong in that offense with Greg Roman. And obviously it's from that Lamar perspective through that Lamar lens, but thought that was really, really interesting. But the point he made for a story we also had was he said, let me just pull it up, his comment. He said that early in the season, he thought Lamar was just trying to be too much of a quarterback. Quote, to be honest, I felt like he got away from that a little bit of getting that X component in there. Give this play its just due, but when it's not there, let's get outside the pocket. Let's get busy. We've seen that the last 3 weeks. This is during the season last year. That's where you see the MVP. That's all the growth. Da, 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 da. There's nobody else on the planet like Lamar Jackson. He's just starting to figure that out. So you look at his numbers, Jim, toward the end of the year when he was finally healthy. And I mean, my God, there's just nobody doing this kind of stuff.
Mm-mm.
So they ended the season on a 5-game winning streak. He ran for 94, 124, 80, 97 in there. That Cleveland game comes to mind, right? When he comes back, wins the
Wow.
game at the end. I mean, they beat a good Giants defense. He was super efficient. I just think it doesn't look normal. It looks different. He's kind of Barry Sanders with an arm, but I think it can be a good thing. If you've got like this unicorn, this weapon, this thing that nobody else has, find a way to use that to the best of its ability. And I could be dead wrong, but I think that the issues in the playoffs, maybe more on others, maybe some coaching in there, maybe some supporting cast in there. I just had their depth chart up. I mean, they added
I
a ton of weapons, right? They added Rashawn Bateman,
yeah,
Sammy Watkins,
I
Rashad Bateman,
agree with
sorry,
you,
Sammy
Sammy.
Watkins. So it's
Yeah, they did. They're that's what I'm saying. I want to see, they've obviously said, okay, what can we do to get to that next step? And they've committed to more weapons. And I like that they're receivers. And I agree. Lamar Jackson makes throws that are special. He really does.
he
But
did
he
lead
will.
the
I'm
league in
just
passing touchdowns his MVP season, right? Like he can throw.
and there's no doubt he can throw. It's a matter of just we talked about this before, just don't always make your receivers work so hard on some basic throws, and because that can add up and it can lead to missing third downs. And I'm just saying that those are the small things that these great quarterbacks you don't always notice. But a big part of when these guys are getting coached is where they're placing the football on every route. That's how I mean that's how precise this stuff is. It's not just about run this route on this step drop. It's hey, he's hitting you on the left inside shoulder. Hey, you got to be ready to spin out. The corner's going to be coming back. You got to be it is that, and the accuracy is so big. Lamar Jackson, what he has done, it's he's I mean, we always debate, my friends and I always debate Michael Vick, Lamar Jackson. Like biggest debate, two of the just history, historic guys that have never looked like this, have played like this. It's incredible, like to watch them.
Who would you take then in that?
I'm a Vic. I'm
Really?
Mike Vick. I am. Now we debate though. We have it going both ways. So we have a heated discussion on it.
Are we
I thought when
talking?
Michael Vick went to Lambeau Field and won in Atlanta, and that's when nobody was winning in Lambeau back then. I was like, that to me said this guy has something special that we can't even believe. Like, and Lamar just needs that type of moment, I think, you know, and see what happens after he gets that playoff defining moment.
Right. I don't think it was that win over Tennessee last year either. It was a good win for him, right? He did win a playoff game. He did run
Yeah,
for
no, no,
136
no doubt,
yards and a
no
touchdown
doubt.
that game.
Yeah,
But it was boom. What goes into Buffalo? It's windy as hell, and they just can't do anything on offense. I don't know. I think I'd take Lamar in that debate. I just think he's got
Yeah.
a little bit more touch as a passer. I think of Michael Vick, and I just think of like every throw being like an absolute laser beam through
Yeah.
the brick wall. I don't know. I mean, you were around him a little bit more,
I
faced
don't
more.
disagree with you on that. I just thought it was incredible. Like just watching Mike Vick play that position was just that was it for me.
Shouldn't let it enter the debate too, man. But I'm a dog lover. It's right. It is kind of crazy.
Yeah,
Like there, we'll
that's a
never see a story like that
there is nothing
again.
nothing good about that. That was
Awful.
brutal, brutal. I know.
You were with New Orleans by the time Andy Reid gave him that second shot, right? You weren't with the
I
Eagles.
was, and
Okay.
just look at what he did with that opportunity.
Yeah.
I mean that's how really gifted he was as a player.
He did pay
But
his debt to society, right? He
he did,
did.
he did,
And, we
did.
hope he's doing some good with that all. Not to kind of detour in a whole new direction here, but um, all right. So that's Lamar. We both agree then they probably got to pay him. You're the GM.
Oh
How
yeah.
much are you paying him per year? And what's the structure of
Mm.
the contract?
I mean that's where you're doing all the comparables. I mean who are you um at what point are you saying can we beat the Chiefs? Can we beat the Bills? You know, in the long run, can we beat those guys? Can we beat those great quarterbacks with Lamar? That's kind of what they have to figure out. You know, if they say that they can, then they got to pay him right in that range. And let's go.
Didn't answer the question though, Jim. What are we talking here? 41, 42 million a year?
Yeah.
5 years?
At this point, that's what these guys are getting.
I know. You're right. Even
My
even
answer
if
to me, yeah, you pay him. That's
even
what
with
the
your
rate is. You pay him.
reservations, you'd probably would even with those reservations do it now, right? Like
Still could
because
do it right now.
I mean
Still could
Dak
do it.
Prescott
Yes.
broke his damn leg and he
You do
gained
it right
leverage.
now.
His stock went
Yes.
up.
Yes.
Like, what do you wait? Like, if you're a team, are you waiting for him to be worse and then pay him when he's worse? Like,
No.
you kind of know 3 years in, you're going to
Yeah.
do something one way or
I
another
agree.
here.
Yep. I agree with you totally.
We talk about Josh Allen a lot, but I think the question
Yeah.
here is right. Like, is what we saw last season
Yeah, I think so.
permanent for real? What we're
Right.
going to see year in, year out? Because we haven't seen this. I mean, what, 6'5, 245, 250, athletic, fast, rocket arm, juggernaut offense regular in the regular season anyways, and an MVP candidate. I think he was second in the voting. So he's gonna
I think you do.
he's gonna want 45 mil a year.
Yeah. And guess what? You figure your way out to do it. I'm just saying it's that you don't mess it up. Just it's gonna get done. It's gonna get worked out. I mean, I just remember like the Drew Brees stuff in New Orleans when I was there. You know, it was tough. I mean, that was a hard thing. I mean, but they got it done. I mean, it didn't seem like it was ever going to be able to work. You know, it got done because there's no way you can lose these court. You can't lose these guys.
Because of the history here in Buffalo too. Like you can't ignore that. Like how tough it is to find this guy. So
I don't disagree with you. I mean, I do want to see him do it again, but I mean, all signs just look so positive the way he's just really matured, I think, as a quarterback. But yeah, they got to see it again for sure. But hey, this is it. Keep them, pay them. Those are the easy decisions. I hate to say it, but they kind of are. I mean, you're in this business to find these types of quarterbacks, you know?
then it's on you as a GM, as a front
Yes.
office, as a scouting
Yes.
department to draft
Yes.
better than they're drafting.
Better, no question. And that's exactly where you're going to get scrutinized now as a GM. That's okay. Everything's been great. Okay. You got everything's headed in the right direction, but this is it. How are you not winning Super Bowls with the current roster? That's what's going to get looked at now. If you have the quarterback in place, why are we not in the Super Bowl?
Maybe
So,
they're different circumstances, but like I think of Carson Wentz, or I'm sorry, Derek
mhm,
Carr in 2016, Carson
mhm.
Wentz since 2017. Before their mid to late December season-ending injuries, they were going to be the MVPs. Like
Yeah,
hands down, it wasn't even
good
close.
call.
I mean, Carr with that Raiders team. God,
I like Carr. Derek Carr I really like Carr.
that
Carr is a really
season
damn good
especially.
quarterback. He's really good. Like he is such a good quarterback.
And guys rally around. There was something special about that team. They had a game against Buffalo. I was out there working on a Derek Carr story at BR, and these players said it. Like you can just feel it around him. Like in the fourth quarter, you're down, but you're gonna find a way to win. And that game, I mean, the Bills were dominating. You guys were. I mean, yeah,
Yeah.
right.
Mm-hmm.
You were there. What am I talking about? You're
Yeah.
there.
Oh yeah.
You guys are dominating the game. And
That
Derek
wasn't.
Carr
That was
just.
not a fun. That was not a fun one.
What do you remember about that game?
Just questioning a lot of things were getting questioned by a lot of people. Yeah. No, that one sticks out. That one was like, what is happening right now? Like,
It's total
so yeah,
control from what I remember, right? Like,
it was ugly. Like there was no reason we should have lost to that.
but they had a good thing with Carr, with Amari Cooper,
Yes. Yes.
Khalil Mack. There were problems on defense, obviously. There were some problems elsewhere, but like, what do they do? Well, they give the keys to John Gruden and he just screws it all up. So is that on Derek Carr? Like you gave Derek Carr this contract. Do you blame Derek Carr for not being the same quarterback since 2016? I don't know. I think a lot of that's on the front office. And then to the extreme, look at Philadelphia. I mean, give me a break. Carson Wentz that season. Look, maybe he did get the case of the yips. Maybe there's something mental he's got to kind of work through. I've heard that from some people in the league that he just isn't
Yeah.
as confident, improvising and
Yeah.
creating. Like, because when he was that MVP quarterback in 2017, that's what he was doing. It was just improvisation. It was like he just made magic happen, a lot like Josh Allen did last season. Really similar, like just making a throw out of nowhere. And the ACL happens. Maybe there's some of that, but they did him no favors, like at all. You pass on DK Metcalf and Justin Jefferson for other receivers in back-to-back drafts, and your line kind of goes to shit, right? The defense has all kinds of issues. Is that Carson Wentz's fault? I don't think so. So you give Josh Allen this money, pressure's on. Like,
Oh yeah.
you've got a good thing going at quarterback, but you got to start hitting on guys like Damar Hamlin, in the 6th round at corner. You got to start finding diamonds in the rough to win Super Bowls. It's going to be interesting. But I'm surprised that we're sitting here though, Jim, July 11th, and who knows? Maybe this podcast comes out and the deal's done. But like, part of me thought it'd be done by now.
Just for Josh.
Yeah.
I agree, but it's gonna get done. It's real. I swear, it's like I wouldn't even. Whenever it's gonna happen, it's just one of those things. As a Bills fan, you obviously just want to see it, but it's gonna happen. Like you don't need to worry about when, if. It's just a matter of just reading about what the amount is.
Well, the good thing though, Jim, they got a lot of those Whaley Monis picks and signings still in town. So you still got Hyde and Poyer back there at safety. Matt Milano there at linebacker gets his deal. That was a good Whaley Monis draft pick, right?
Trey White,
Trey White, right? We poke
hey, that was
with the Mahomes.
What? It's fun that we, like we talked about. It's cool that we were a part of that as a team. Like it really was a good team draft. Like we worked really well with those coaches. Sean McDermott, he led a good job. Like we did a really nice job as a team. And I think that's the result of that. The firing wasn't because of that, any of that. The firing was simply Sean and Whaley weren't hitting it off, and Sean wanted Bean, and Pugulas took his side, and they should. That's their guy. So had nothing to do with the draft, and that's part of the business. So
it's crazy to me though how you guys are forgotten with that offseason.
Yeah, you know what?
It's not right. Like, I mean, you see lists that come out, and it's like it's almost, I've heard people kind of assume that you guys didn't have your fingerprints on anything that happened start to finish that whole off season.
No,
That
no.
and that off season was the tipping point in a lot of ways
Yeah.
for the roster. And granted, Josh
No,
Allen is Josh Allen. Don't get me wrong, but like you guys did a lot of good with
no,
that
we've talked
roster.
about it that we were just proud. The free agency was well run by everybody involved. It was all of us and the coaches again, and heavily involved. And they had a big hand in Poyer. Like they had a little history with Poyer, and that was a big, that helped. That really helped get him. And Hyde was a guy everybody liked. Hauska, the kicker. That was
Yeah,
just a
oh shit.
good. Yeah, we just had some good, really good free agent class. So definitely was cool to be a part of that. It leaves you, whether or not I ever work in the NFL again, at least I can look back on that and say, hey, it wasn't all bad. It really wasn't. To see it never is. It's never as good as you're never as good as you think you are, but you're never as bad as you think you are either.
Well, NFL teams out there, come on. Why? I love talking football with Jim Onis here, but
Yeah,
it's a little
it's
ridiculous.
been good though, Tyler. It's been good. I mean, we're debating stuff that I would love decisions on, like should we keep Josh? It's just how much
Yeah,
should we?
yeah.
I mean, those are you hit the hardest part is getting those guys, and they did that. So,
Well, we'll see. Gonna happen. Gonna be a lot of money. And hey, they also have to pay for a new stadium at some point too. So
ooh,
a lot of spending
ooh,
here in Buffalo. A lot of spending. Cleveland. Do you want to shift gears?
yes, let's do it.
So you think it's a done deal? Kind of. I think it's probably a lot of the same reasons, right? This is a franchise that's just been swimming in just no man's land at torment at the quarterback position for 2 decades. You got a guy that brought you to the playoffs, that won a playoff game, that players want to play for, just has that swagger to him, that just, I don't know, the FU kind of demeanor that the Cleveland Browns needed, right? Like this is just a team that's just been absolute garbage for so long. Like that's you needed a Baker Mayfield to just zap life into your organization. It's just like the perfect quarterback at the perfect time. I guess the argument would be, oh well, is he a system guy, right? Kevin Stefanski, yeah, that system's really damn good, and that offensive line's really good. But you still have to have the quarterback that's going to go however many pass attempts he went without an interception. It was insane last year, and had the season he had without Odell Beckham, right? He didn't have his best receiver. I think you pay him. I think you pay him a lot of money. I don't think you think twice about it.
Agree. I don't really know much else to say. I mean, we've talked about Cleveland, this last couple times. They're legit. I believe in that head coach. That front office came in, and Andrew Berry's done a great job. All three of these quarterbacks that we're talking about, Josh Allen, Lamar, and Baker, those franchises are all very well run right now, where the owners kind of are out of the way, but they want to win and they're willing to spend to win. All three have legit head coaches, proven head coaches, and then they all have quarterbacks. So this is your Super Bowl formula. These are these teams are going to be in the mix as well as KC, obviously. So it's yeah, you pay Baker and let's go. You don't overthink it. Don't overthink it.
And Jimmy Haslam had some issues
He's
with the interfering for a
so
while. It
he
seems like
I
he's
think
kind
he
of backed
learned.
off.
I agree, Tyler. I feel like he learned something because he really went away a little bit. You didn't hear much, and he must have realized. And give him credit. Give him credit.
Oh man, we've touched on it a few times. Wouldn't that be difficult? Because so July 4th, I know everybody was probably out with their families and they should be. They're not sitting around watching TV all day. And I wasn't either, but I saw NFL Network had a marathon going. I think it is America's Game, the team that won the Super Bowl. They do like an hour long special, like the story of that team. I'm kind of a sucker for this stuff. I know it's all positive and optimism and, and this, everything's, hunky dory. Whatever. It's fun. I like watching the old 90s highlights. So I recorded a bunch of them. And one of the ones I recorded was the 95 Cowboys. And there was the lead up to that season. There's a lot of pressure on Jerry Jones, right? He ran Jimmy Johnson out of town. They bring in Barry
Mm-hmm.
Switzer,
Very sweet. Yeah.
lost to the Niners in the NFC Championship game in '94, and everybody's asking him like, "You're interfering, like you're interfering, like are you're meddling, you're interfering." Like his response was kind of like, you call it meddling. Well, hey, I worked my ass off to get to this point. Like I'm gonna run the show. I'm gonna do what I want. Like we've won a lot of games. We won 2 Super Bowls. And I think that's probably why we've seen a lot of the problems for the Dallas Cowboys since 1995. They haven't made it to the conference championship games. It's maybe more on that and go along soon. We'll see. But part of me does kind of empathize and understand where he's coming from. If I'm Jerry Jones, if I'm any one of these billionaire owners, right? And I love sports and I made a shit ton of money in an industry and I buy a team, am I just gonna sit around and not meddle and do nothing? Like I would yeah, you're raising your hand. The urge to meddle would be so strong for me. I would want to be right in there, like scouting, making decisions, and tell it. It's gotta be tough to just hire people and empower people and let them do their thing. There's gotta be such a suffocating of ego to do that. Which you're a billionaire to begin with, you probably have an ego. That's gotta be tough. It's gotta be difficult to not meddle. Am I wrong? You're looking at me like I'm dead wrong.
No, you're not wrong because it happens. No, you're not wrong because it happens. I can't understand how, if you're a billionaire and you buy an NFL team, how you're not living somewhere else all the time, fly in for the game, shake some hands, sit in a suite, drink some wine, laugh it up. Hey, hope we win, and let's keep it moving. I, you're not going to lose money owning an NFL team. Like, so what is your stress? Like, yeah, of course you want to win a Super Bowl. So yeah, keep trying to. If you want to get involved in the hiring processes, keep until you get the right GM and head coach. Okay, you should be involved in that. It's your team. But after you feel like you hired the right GM and head coach, when you feel confident as an owner that you do have the right people in place, that's when bye bye. You're not going to see me. In fact, you might not even see me for some bad games either. I'm checking the weather too. Like I might not be like there for every game.
Because the opposite is like Donald Sterling is the other extreme, right? Like where you're like
Worst.
you only care about making money and you could give two shits about whether the team wins or
Two
loses.
shits.
It's a business venture for you. If they're making you a lot of money, you're good. You're cheap. You don't care. You're distant. I don't know. There's probably a lot of owners like that out there as well. So there's got to be some type of.
You know,
I think you
I
just kind of struck the balance the way you described it there.
Tom Benson in New Orleans, he's passed away now, but when I talked about like he was around and like just he was always around, but not like heavily involved with football decisions. And he loved New Orleans. He loved the Saints. And it was really cool to be a part of seeing that, team and turn around, especially after Katrina, and how much it meant to him as an owner. It it meant like he was just so, and they treated us like first class, but he was so happy. It was just like, man, this really meant so much to him. And so, but he never was like over the top. He never was in the head coaches, at that time. Now I don't know if he was like that, younger, but
Maybe Cleveland figured it out. Maybe
yeah,
Haslam has kind of turned that corner and has
yeah,
infrastructure that he really wants there. And you got the quarterback. So Cleveland is going to be
got
a
him,
fun team to watch this year, man.
no doubt.
Jadeveon Clowney. I mean, if he can turn it on, like the talent's there. It's always been there, but he just bounces from team to team to team to team. Maybe for 1 year he can kind of put it together because you got Myles Garrett on the other side. That front could be tough.
I think football is going to be incredibly fun. It starts with quarterbacks, like we always talk about, like this whole show. There are a lot of really good quarterbacks right now. Like I'm talking great, really good, however you want to say it, which means there's a lot of teams that have chances. So it is fascinating. It never gets old talking quarterbacks.
Speaking of quarterbacks, Aaron Rodgers, what's going to happen there,
I
Jim?
I haven't really paid attention. Is it? What's he doing? Is something going on?
Well, he's golfing and he's, there's been a few
No, I
more.
tried not to talk. I didn't want to talk about
Well, it has been the one storyline that has managed to kind of plow through the NBA and NHL playoffs and remain at the forefront of every sports fan's mind. I guess the only thing that's happened, right? He was at a couple golf outings, the match, and then
him.
something else
He's
this
in,
week.
yeah, this weekend. Yeah.
And he said, yeah, he's going to enjoy the hell out of that weekend and then work out. And hey, was it like, we'll see what happens in a couple weeks. So managing to troll and, inject a little hope and I don't know, I guess be passive aggressive as he's been this whole time. I'm just surprised we didn't get another, puppy who lost his way soliloquy at some point about the people. What
I
about the
can't wait
people?
to see just because of everything you've done with this story. I can't wait to see just what happens. Like if he ends up coming back or not. I just can't wait because part of me has said I think he's going to come back.
Yeah.
But obviously I have no clue. You have at least investigated and researched and spoke to people. I have zero clue. I just don't understand who he's going to go to right now.
Mm-hmm.
It's hard to come into a team right now and just at this point and be ready to win a Super Bowl.
Well, just to clean up what I said, it was the American Century Championship Celebrity Golf Tournament in Tahoe.
Yeah.
And he said, quote, I'm going to enjoy the hell out of this week, and then I'm going to get back to working out and figure things out in a couple weeks. So that was that. And I don't think you really read too much into it. Like, I don't think anything's changed. It's crazy how the story has had so much legs, but when the bomb was dropped day one of the draft and we wrote it then, it's when you're out, you're out. This is his personality. The situation is they want him to be the starting quarterback. They want to pay him a lot of money. They don't want to give up on Jordan Love and structure Aaron Rodgers' contract in a way that would make that as such, right? That if you're going to read between the lines, I think that's probably what Rodgers wants, right? He wants his contract structured in a way that makes you admit that the Love pick was a screw up somehow.
Okay.
Or you can't
I-
turn to him for like 3 years. Something
No.
crazy like that. And Green Bay
Yeah.
wants to have some outs in place. And Brian Gutekunst is going to be the GM. Aaron Rodgers, I think we have to assume he wants him fired because he hasn't come out and denied that Yahoo report. Think about it. If you're a starting quarterback and that report comes out and you don't just shout from the mountaintops that that's a bunch of BS and not true, then I guess that's what you think. Like, it's okay.
Yeah.
Former players are saying it's not true. Okay, whatever. Like, what do you have to say? We haven't heard from you.
I agree with you.
So
It just
happen.
seems, no, you're right. It just seems like you wouldn't want to, if you didn't have a firm belief in anything you're doing, like, what are you doing this for? Like, what are you stringing everybody along for? Or,
right.
So
That's it. He's got a firm belief. And if you're that dug in, do you just show up day one of training camp?
Right. Which he
Look,
can do.
I'm not going to say it's 100% he's not.
Right.
But everybody I talk to
I know.
is dug in. So we'll see. It's entertaining as hell, and it makes it fun, and maybe not fun for a lot of Packer fans who want to know what the hell's going on right now.
Oh, they are going to be. It's going to be nuts.
I'll give Packer fans a ton of credit, Jim. They see it for what it is. They really do. Like, I don't know. I mean, I don't know how you can really blame the Packers with as much vitriol as you do see from certain people in the media. But like, we've talked about it enough on here. But like, they see it. Like, if you're an MVP quarterback, just keep playing football, keep playing it well, and you'll make them look ridiculous with your play. If you think it was a bad pick, that's it. And the Bucks are killing the Suns here, so maybe they're happy.
I just Aaron Rodgers might be dug in on. I will come back if these whatever he's talking about with his agent, with if they have certain demands, if they want to do something different, I will come back if this is the case. If not, then he has another plan that he's comfortable with.
Hmm. And then it's like, does he need football to be happy?
That's what I'm saying. His next plan would be, hey, I can walk away. I'm okay with that. Like, it could be that simple.
Yeah.
I just don't know how. I just feel like going, like, you're him. And obviously, if you're going to keep playing right now, you want to win a Super Bowl. And why would you leave a team that you're right there? Like, you guys know you're good enough to win a Super Bowl right now. Like, what are you gonna do? You want to go ship? You want to go play for Denver just because everybody thinks just because you go to Denver you're gonna be great? Like, it's not that easy. You don't know anybody out there. You don't have any investment in Denver right now, and you're gonna go out there right in July and learn an offense and players at that age. Like, Brady was there for a while. Brady was. He wasn't just like. He didn't just show up to Tampa and just. I mean, he invested himself in Tampa like
Yeah.
right away. He committed to that team right away. He moved. I mean, he was all on board. So I don't know. I just don't think it's that simple. Where if Aaron Rodgers gets traded and whoever he gets traded to is like, I think there's more to it.
I don't know what point, if you're a teammate, I get it. He comes out and he supports his teammates and loves his teammates.
Yeah.
And they obviously want him to be the quarterback because he's going to make them a lot of money because he's so good. You know, everybody wins in that
Yeah.
scenario. But at what point as a teammate, you be it's kind of like, what the hell, dude? Like,
Yeah.
are we chopped liver? Like, really? Like, the way it is here is it's pretty damn good. Is it perfect? Maybe not. Is Green Bay a little archaic in the way they do business? Maybe, maybe they are. Maybe they have gotten a little too corporate. Maybe it's not little old Green Bay, smack dab in the middle of Northeast Wisconsin, with the shareholder. Like, maybe it has changed, like structurally, but
Yeah.
is it really at that point where you want to hold everybody hostage through August, September, October to prove that point? Is it really worth that, Aaron? If I'm just trying to get the mind of a teammate, like you would think for their sake he would want to fight for them and play for them when you were within one third and goal sellout at the goal line of making it to the Super Bowl as Aaron Rodgers. Like, he didn't sell out then, sell out now. Do it for your players, do it for your teammates. Um, that could be the Packers thinking, right? Like maybe that's the reason Mark Murphy and Brian Gutekunst haven't taken the advice of Go Long of golongtd.com and traded Aaron Rodgers because they think at the end of the day he won't be able to get past that. Like that he might dislike us a ton. He might hate us, but he's not going to hate his teammates and he's not going to make them suffer. Um, maybe that's their hope. It's kind of weird and twisted. I still think like you need a direction. You need to be decisive. You need a plan. You need do it for the other 52 guys in that on that team or 89 right now. Like do it for them. You owe it to them. Because how do you take anybody seriously, like in the film room? Like if Matt LaFleur is like just trashing you, like for not selling out on a play, I'm sitting there, I'm like, oh wait a minute, like, well you're fawning over a quarterback that doesn't even want to be here. You're begging him to come back. He doesn't want to be here. I don't know. The human element of it really fascinates me.
No, we've talked about that too. I mean, I've never understood this, and I'm an Aaron Rodgers fan, but I've never understood what like we talked about. You picked off Brady 3 times, and you didn't do anything with that. I mean, that to me was the biggest, craziness to me of that whole Aaron Rodgers game. Not even that end. The ending was ridiculous too, but
Yeah. Doug nailed it a couple weeks ago, didn't he? Doug Whaley. I mean, when he
yeah.
said, we're all sitting here talking about stuff that isn't Aaron Rodgers going 1-4 in the NFC Championship game
Right
and
there.
losing to Tom Brady.
Yeah.
And basically Brady's saying I'm the GOAT, like I'm the greatest ever. There's no discussion. We're in two totally different stratospheres. Like Aaron Rodgers, great regular season quarterback. Tom Brady, all-time winner. So, all right. Well, we couldn't get through a podcast without
We
not
did it.
talking Aaron Rodgers, of course.
Wait, we didn't mention before we get off, because we didn't bring this guy up, but I don't think, but Mahomes, I don't know if he won the longest drive in this, that Tahoe, the golf tournament out in Tahoe that they're all playing in. But I saw on Twitter, he hit one, like, I think they said like 347 or something. And I think it said he was leading the open drive tourney. I was like, this guy,
People
good
quoted
living.
him.
He's making a good living.
God, I mean, even
he
his
didn't look
close
too
friends,
stressed. Patrick Mahomes didn't look too stressed.
You know what's cool about Patrick Mahomes? Like his best friends, like they're not celebrities and they're not like other professional players. They're like just good dudes that he grew up with, like playing youth sports and high school sports. I've talked to some of them for stories over the years, and like Coleman Patterson. I'll never forget. He said that Patrick Mahomes has this ability to just pick up any sport and just dominate it. Like anything. Like, I mean, obviously everybody knows he was this incredible baseball player, but like basketball, like the way he saw the court and his vision. I mean, there's this pass he made from his end line in a high school game, like underhanded, kind of a sidearm sweep of a pass, full court.
Yeah, just how he would do it.
And, they go hatchet and hops. That's really popular now, where you throw the axes and you drink beer. Like, does that and just dominates. Like anything he does, golf, just steps up, just whacks it like he's on the PGA. Isn't that crazy? Are guys just like born with that? Like you got to be just born with something, right? Like you can just pick up any sport and be unbelievable at it.
It's seriously, yes, you are born with a lot of it.
Yeah. Well, Jim, this was a lot of fun.
All right, man.
Great to see you. Can't wait to see you in person.
Shit.
Everybody, thanks for listening. We appreciate you. We might have to we got to get a live pod in before little baby number 2 arrives, Jim, because it's coming in hot. We're 2.5 weeks away at this point. So
Tyler, I'm already stressed for you. And it's hard. I'm not really stressed about much, but man, I'll tell you what, another kid that stresses me out for you. So man, I'm thinking about you.
You don't know what you don't know, right? I think that's what I'm kind of putting my trust. Like everybody tells you like it's insane.
I'm gonna be leaning on you for all the advice for having number 2.
Yeah, I can't wait. It'll be fun. It'll be a lot of fun. It'll be crazy. It's gonna be crazy, but we can't wait. It'll be fun. We might have to have you come over here maybe for a podcast. If we can't get to Hamburg, we'll just get some beer there at some point during the week. Bring it here,
and we'll just have to do it there.
Right. Yeah. So you can bring Walter. You can bring the little boy if you want. Maybe we'll get the fams together.
I think that sounds like a good podcast.
Yeah. All right. Thanks for listening, everyone. We appreciate it. Catch you next time.